So I'm getting ready to make some blueberry sourdough bagels and also some sourdough waffles. We had some bad weather coming in, some snow potentially, and I thought it would be good to wake up and have some nice breakfast the next morning with the anticipation of everybody being home. So getting started with these blueberry bagels, I have a cup and a half of blueberries here, and I'm just gonna start cooking them down and reducing them by half, and then I will have to let them cool so that I can add them to my dough. So I just turned them on high, brought them down to a simmer, cooked them for several minutes. You can see that they've thickened up quite a bit, and then I'm just going to let them cool on my counter for a few minutes. Next, we're going to put together the dough. So I've got a half cup of sourdough starter that I have, it's active and bubbly, and the recipe calls for 4 cups of flour, but it's good to add just a couple cups in at first and then add the other in later. I had some sugar, some salt, some water, the blueberry mixture, and I'm just going to add about 3 cups of that flour, and then I'm going to save a cup to add in a little bit at a time. The recipe also calls for dried blueberries, which I think would really enhance the flavor. I didn't have any on hand, so I didn't add those in, but I can see where that would really make the flavor really nice. So I'm just going to keep mixing this and then adding a little flour a little bit at a time, kind of checking the consistency to see how sticky it is, and just getting it to incorporate as much flour as I can in there, and also just kind of kneading the dough up some. I love how beautiful this dough is. It's so pretty and purple, and that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to make it, just because I thought it would be really fun and pretty to make. I haven't made bagels in several years, so I was excited to try that again. I was able to get most of the 4 cups of flour in there, and then it seemed like it was getting pretty stiff and it wasn't sticky anymore, and so I decided that it was done, and I'm just going to cover this up and I decided to put it in my oven overnight to rise because my kitchen's pretty cold, which it ended up being pretty cold in my oven as well, but I'm going to stick it in there just to have it out of the way and let it rise overnight. Now I'm going to get started on my sourdough waffles. So a lot of times I'll do a double batch of these and put a bunch in the freezer. We didn't have a lot of eggs today, so I decided to just do a single batch. So it's 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sourdough starter, 2 cups of milk, and a couple tablespoons of sugar is your overnight ferment. And then you'll add in some more ingredients tomorrow when you're getting ready to bake them. So I'm just going to get that mixed up really well and put a lid on it, and I'm actually just going to put it right in the oven with the other dough. So I put a little note on my oven so that nobody accidentally turns the oven on and ruins the dough in there, because that can definitely happen. We woke up to lots of beautiful snow this morning. It was very exciting. This is my waffle batter after it's set overnight. I'll have to add a few more things to that, and then we're going to get these waffles going. This is my blueberry bagels. Isn't that beautiful? It rose up really well. So I'm going to be making out the bagels here in a minute. So the ingredients I'm adding today are eggs, baking soda, vanilla, and salt, and a little melted butter for the waffle mixture. I'll just mix that up and then I'm gonna get it started going in my waffle maker. So now I've cut my bagel dough into 8 pieces and I'm forming each piece into a little disc and then poking a hole through the middle, and that just gives it its kind of classic bagel shape. And I'm going to put them on a pan and let them rise for, the recipe says 1 to 4 hours. I think it took mine for about 2 hours, and then they look kind of puffy, and so I knew that they were ready to be boiled. So here's what they look like before they've risen, and then I'm just going to let them rise for a couple hours, and you can see that they're puffy and they're ready to be boiled. So I've got a pot of boiling water here. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking soda, and I'm going to gradually put those in 2 or 3 at a time. They will boil one side for a minute, and then they'll boil on the other side for a minute, and then we'll take them out and put them on a baking sheet with some parchment paper, and I'll bake them in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes until they're golden brown on top. So here they are getting finished boiled. They kind of turned a greenish color in that baking soda water with the blue, but they look kind of neat. And so I'm just going to throw them in the oven, and then they're going to come out, and this is what they look like. They are golden brown on top. They were just so nice and chewy. They definitely had a blueberry flavor. Next time I would like to try adding the dried blueberries, but they still were really good. And so this is what they look like on the inside. They're nice and purple, great with some cream cheese on top. Thanks so much for joining me on my baking day today, and I hope you try some of these recipes also.